Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one opinion source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola as he sounds off on the latest movies, TV, music, gaming, comic books, and more. Now, here's the man of the hour, Marco Mazzola.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Rant Podcast. I just cut that right off. I don't really care.
You really did, man. I'm like, what?
This thing. I am, as always, your host, Marco Mazzola, and as you can see, we are joined once again by Marie Brownhill from the Trekkers Delight Podcast. Hello, Marie.
Hi, everybody.
How are you? It's been so long since we chatted, all of 24 hours.
I was about to say, like...
a little about 24, less than, obviously. We ended a lot later last night, so... yeah, we are rocking and rolling on some Constantine tonight. Some 2005 Keanu Reeves Constantine.
And Rachel Weisz, let's not forget that.
Of course, no, we'll go through we'll definitely go through the whole cast list and talk about everybody that's on in there and you know, our thoughts. And I'm going to give it to you. Let's watch the trailer and then I'll give it to you. We'll do some sort of plot, you know, kind of an idea of what the plot really is and what's going on during this movie. Because I think you have, quote unquote, I think you have more of a love for this movie than I do, if I remember from us talking about it. Not to say that you love the movie, you just have more of a love.
You know, I think I have. I think this is like going to be like Tango and Cash, honestly. I really do.
In terms of how much you loved it back in the day,
right? I mean, I think Marco, you're just on a mission to destroy my childhood. Is what this is.
It very well could be. Jason Craig in the house. Hello, Jason. Yo, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like this movie from the get-go. Like, I just, you know, and I don't get me wrong, I love me
pissed because it wasn't real Constantine. That was the issue.
You'll always be pissed when it's not real, whatever. Enters, you know, property name here. I don't really care. You know, you go through all the bother and then you don't make it what it was supposed to be. And you put your own little stink on it and your own little twist on it and your own little cutesiness to it. I will always be pissed about that.
But fortunately, that's why we have entertainment rants. So let's go ahead and watch that trailer and get the
shit out of it. Yeah, let's
and then we can talk about why it's terrible.
Let's watch this wonderful trailer. I'm sure it's going to be just banging. Here we go.
Again, it's 2005.
Yep.
Cold. Sure about this? No.
Mr. Constantine, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
I know the circles you travel in, the occult, exorcisms.
Easy there, hero. That's Dragon's Breath. I thought you couldn't get it anymore. I know a guy who knows a guy.
I thought that you could at least point me in the right direction.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Please.
What if I told you that God and the devil made a wager for the souls of all mankind? No direct contact with humans, that would be the rule. Just influence. See who would win.
Demons stay in hell. Angels in heaven.
They call it the balance.
I need to see what you see.
You do this, there's no turning back. You see them. They see you. Understand?
That outfit is always bothered.
Yeah.
Always.
Into the light I command thee. Into the light I command thee.
Go to hell.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So that trailer is fantastic in that it actually captures just how weird this movie is, and it's trying to do so many things, and it does none of them well.
Yes. Agreed. Absolutely agree. So, and it does. I mean, and, you know, it's got you look at the cast list, it's got a really good cast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really does. You know, so I wanted to love it more than I did. But I think it's one of those movies where, like, once you get to Matt Ryan, you actually hate the movie even more.
Yeah.
For what they tried to do and completely missed. You know what I mean? Because he kind of epitomizes what that character was meant to be. You know, he looks like the character. He sounds like the character. He acts like the character.
David Bowie with a personality disorder, you mean?
Yeah. And it just, Keanu Reeves, and I love Keanu Reeves. I just don't think he was a good fit for this movie. I don't think he was the right choice by any means.
Because basically he's playing Neo as Constantine. And the problem is that Constantine's an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's one of the first, it's the first or second story for Constantine where he literally feeds his best buddy to a hunger demon and then bricks his ass up and then goes out for drinks. Like, that sets the tone for Constantine as a character, right, in Hellblazer.
Yes.
And the problem is with this particular Constantine, it's still Keanu Reeves, and Keanu Reeves's inner decency just shines out of him.
Yes.
He is just not able to capture the dickishness that characterizes Constantine.
No, because you don't really see Keanu Reeves as a dick. Like, I mean, I'm trying to go through the catalog in my head, and what movie did he really play kind of an asshole, or you know what I mean? And if he did he pull it off really well? He just kind of seems like that laid back dude, you know what I mean, that he wasn't Bill and Ted's in real life. You know what I mean?
Also, especially in this is sort of Matrix era, so he's still kind of rocking the Neo aesthetic, right?
Yes.
And I definitely get a very Neo vibe off of Constantine. Which is
I did back then, and now again, then I know it's hard to do that, right? Because this is well before Matt Ryan took the role and did anything with it. So it's sort of like reversed hatred for the movie. I hate it in the past, now in the future, like that.
Right, because I think this is the first film adaptation of that particular property. Because Constantine is, let's be real, Constantine is a tough property to do.
It is.
The supernatural aspects.
We've had a ton of supernatural movies, and it's one of those things where, like, you have this property and you don't really make it about the property itself. What they're doing, it's just a supernatural movie, and not a horrible one by any means, right? Like, it had some redeeming qualities as a supernatural type movie. So just make it a supernatural movie,
right?
And
I think you would hate this so much. Like, you would hate this so much less, but for the fact that it's Constantine.
Yeah, exactly right. You know what I mean? It's the same reason I had trouble with the Nolan Batman stuff, right? It's a cop in a cape. Just make it that. Don't make it a Batman movie. Same thing with The Batman, right? I enjoyed the movie, but it's not a Batman movie. You know what I mean?
I still haven't seen that, actually. Like, I think I took your advice. So I'm just going to wait.
From the character, yeah. And it's not bad. It's not a bad movie by any means. I enjoyed it. When I have 14 hours to watch it again, I will. It's really ridiculously long. It's overly long. There's definitely some parts that still could have been cut from it, but again, good movie making, right? Great sets. The acting's good. The special effects are great. The costuming is good. It certainly doesn't look like it's made on the cheap. It definitely looks like they put some money into it with a good direction, but not for the Batman property, right? And this is this is the same thing.
For 2005, this is legit, right? There's legit money behind this because they were clearly banking on both Rachel Weisz and Keanu Reeves pulling people in. And they did.
Yeah, she's coming off movie stuff, right, at that point. So, and he's, like you said, he's coming off of the Matrix stuff. So, it had, like, again, it has Shia LaBeouf was in there. Mr. LaBeouf was in there.
I could have done without him, actually. I think that's really the part that the substitution that bugged me the most. Because Chaz is such a great character in the comics, right? Because he has the knowledge, right? Like, he is this brilliant dude that's been in London forever and knows all the things, and he's incredibly useful. And then we get the beef.
We get the beef.
And I'm
which
just
is,
like,
again, he's kind of that one trick pony, the sarcastic little, smarmy kid.
Is he is not bringing his A game.
No,
I mean, I will say,
he character in iRobot that he played in Transformers. Do you know what I mean?
But it's not even as good as his Sam Witwicky. Okay, like it's not even as good. Like he is just obnoxiously terrible in Constantine, and everybody else is trying really, really hard. Like I mean, there are definitely moments when you can look at Keanu and he's just like, all right, we're going for it. I'm thinking specifically of the time he whips off that coat and then starts like beating all the CGI bugs with it. It's just like, this is not working for you, man. It's just not.
No.
And that's the other thing that really is awful about this Constantine too, is like, rather than the iconic trench coat, they put him in a very Neo-esque black suit, and it's just like, that's not what Constantine is. I need the
white t-shirt with like the red tie, with the pattern, and the trench coat, the tan trench coat, you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, and that's clearly what Castiel is channeling, right? Like, I mean, that's the illusion that Castiel is making in Supernatural, is to Hellblazer. But
it's one of those situations where you have this character who, when you think Constantine and you think of the way he looks, the blonde hair, and then you do this to it.
He's literally supposed to be David Bowie with a personality defect, right? Like, I mean, he's supposed to look like David Bowie.
Yeah,
like that's who the physical model was.
You cast Keanu Reeves,
and they picked Keanu Reeves.
I get that. Get the guy who just drew in the Matrix money. I get it, but it doesn't mean it serves your property.
No.
And you don't even attempt to dress him correctly. You don't attempt to say, hey, I know you get dark hair. Do you mind going blonde for this? You know what I mean? Nothing.
Have we ever seen Keanu Reeves do anything with his hair ever?
No, I don't think so. Like Speed, it was just short.
Yeah.
I remember him ever like doing like
Point Break,
no, because it was Patrick Swayze had the blonde hair, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was Swayze, right? In Point Break. Okay, that's what I thought when I was blanking on that. But yeah, so again, he's whether it's long or short, it's still usually the same color, and that's fine. Get somebody else. Not that he's a bad actor.
He just was not the guy for this.
He's in the wrong role. He's absolutely in the wrong role.
And that's not a slight against Keanu Reeves. It's just like,
not at all.
It's just not his wheelhouse.
Not at all. No.
And I don't think they quite knew how to get him into this particular story. Rachel Weisz is also trying to figure out what's going on. There are moments when she's like, this is a romance, and then she's like, oh, but wait, no, it's a mystery. Oh, but wait, no. And you can tell that she's trying to find her footing at any sort of given moment, over and above the fact that she's doing accent work and she's kind of struggling with it. Really, that's
nothing. Like Constantine should have the British accent.
So why is he in the US? Like, why is he in the US? Like,
don't let him try. I don't want to hear him try.
No.
There's some actors who can pull it off.
We've talked about this. John Malkovich. John Malkovich never needs to do accent ever again.
No, he can't. He's tried Russian. He tried
Malkovich, man.
Just do the John Malkovich and be fine with it. I don't really hear much from him these days. I wonder what happened to him. I really haven't. No,
he was on one of those shows, right? Like, I mean, he was on Space Force.
They're already tangenting and took 13 minutes. It's pretty good for us, actually. We took 13 minutes to tangent to someone else who has nothing to do with the movie. That was Casper. He's in there.
It's almost 14.
We're doing pretty good. Let's see what our friend Craig had to say. Yeah, exactly. Before they could get characters right, because remember, Catwoman came out. Oh my God, was Catwoman really a year after this horror show with the bippy top? Oh my God, he's right. Yeah, no, they it's not that they. I don't think that they couldn't get characters right. I just don't think they cared. I don't think they saw the value like Marvel sees the value. You know what I mean?
Right. Marvel has recognized the fact that there are people who are invested in these characters for the characters, right? Like,
right.
But I mean, and I see your argument, Jason. I do, that this is before anybody gave a shit. But the problem is that Warner Brothers and DC never have.
Yeah,
they never have.
A little bit of both.
I'm going to point out Green Lantern. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
As an example, right? Also, I mean,
they tried to make him look like Green Lantern, but they just made so many bad choices. At least when you looked at it, you go, that's a shitty looking Green Lantern, but at least I know you're trying for Green Lantern. You're not doing a good job of trying, but you're trying. I can see where the influences were, where your thought process
if
was.
nobody had labeled this movie as Constantine, I would not have known who that was.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
And I would have been like, so it's Neo with ghosts and demons.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I can work with that. Like,
absolutely.
I mean, again, so the movie itself, we've covered this, but the movie itself is not actually horrible. It's just a terrible Constantine movie because for a lot of reasons, up to and including the fact that this was never a good portrayal of who Constantine was. So if you went into this with a real love for the character, you're gonna walk out pissed as shit.
Yeah, it's like one of the last Die Hard movies, right? Where like, hey, we have this action flick. How do we make it good? We'll throw John McClane in there way after they had the script to make this movie about a guy who has to stop the tech criminals from taking down the Social Security. Oh, why don't we just make this a John McClane movie, make it a Die Hard, and we'll get Bruce Willis in on it, and we can't even say yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, because we've got a PG-13 rating. So
again,
shoehorn them in. We have this supernatural story. How do we tie it to something? Well, I don't know. What do we have? Who's our supernatural guy? Oh, Constantine. Throw him in there. But we need Neo. We already booked him. We need Neo. So you look back, it's like, was this under a different title before it came out?
I have no idea.
You know what I mean?
I have no idea, but like, I mean, I feel like it might have been, and it should have been, and then they were like, "Oh wait, we can shoehorn it in and get the nerds," because they clearly have an idea, right? That nerds have money by this point because we've had the Batman films, we've had Catwoman, as Jason points out. I've tried really, really hard to block that out of my mind. So thank you for my nightmares tonight. Cheers.
You can't do that. You can't do that. You have to be one with them. You have to.
No, you don't.
And make them a part of you. You have to never forget. You have to learn to live with the pain, not try to block the pain. Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
I'm going to sit here with my red wine and peacefully disagree.
So you don't attempt to make that pain come again.
So let's also talk about the actual plot of the film, because they create almost an entirely new mythos from scratch.
So talk about that. You go through the plot because you probably know it better than I do, because my hatred for this movie kind of blocked a lot of it.
So Constantine is a psychic as a kid, and it drives him kind of crazy. And eventually, his parents enroll him in shock therapy, and it all goes to shit. And so he commits suicide and is dead for 2 minutes. And he discovers that it's all real. Okay. But now that he's a suicide, technically, because he did die for 2 minutes, he's condemned to hell. So what Constantine tries to do with his life then is engage in exorcisms and, general sort of supernatural house cleaning in order to buy his way back into heaven. So that's what he's in the process of doing. But he's also in the process of dying from lung cancer because he's smoked 30 cigarettes since he was 15, which I thought was a great nod, because that is actually something that Constantine would do. Up to the point where he becomes, practically immortal because nobody wants him.
Right.
So yeah. Anyway, Rachel Weisz, on the other hand, plays Angie Dodson, who is a cop in whatever random town this is. I don't know. I mean,
random town,
New York,
USA.
Boston, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
And her twin sister has just killed herself in a mental institution. It seems like a really shitty mental institution if they can just get out on the balcony, but we're going to leave that by itself for a minute.
Sure.
So Isabel dies. She's convinced that it's not a suicide. So she enlists Constantine's help. And Constantine's like, yeah, BT dubs, no, it's legit. It's legit a suicide because I found her in hell. And then they start trying to figure out why, what happened to make this hell. And it turns out that what's going on is someone is trying to summon. I love my brio. My brio is like, your makeup is terrible, so I'm not going to focus. There we go. So basically, someone is trying to summon the son of Satan, Mammon. I'm going to get us banned, by the way, from YouTube. I'm sure someone's going to object to this, but whatever.
No.
Mammon, Mammon is
banned. Who knows?
So Mammon is somebody's trying to summon Mammon, and that's kind of a problem because that violates something called the balance, which is God and the devil have played dice with the universe, and basically it's hands off, except for these half breeds that can come and influence you one way or the other. And that's largely like Constantine lives in this sort of gray area. Angie hooks up with Constantine. They start investigating because Constantine's noticing a lot of indications that the balance is being violated. And so he enlists a number of popular characters. Papa Midnight is actually a character from Hellblazer and is fantastic. I think he's actually the best part, like the most comic accurate of all the characters.
Hansu, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a very young one, right? Like, I mean, it's just like, wow.
We know him from Guardians of the Galaxy and, some of the Marvel stuff now, but yeah.
Like, he's everywhere, though. Like, he's everywhere. So, anyway, they figure out eventually that someone's trying to summon the son of Satan. And what has to happen is they have to have the blood of God. They also have to have, like, an extremely powerful psychic. And it turns out that Angie is an extremely powerful psychic. And Constantine actually helps her awaken those powers at one point, and it explodes his bathtub. Which I don't know if y'all have tried to break a bathtub. It's an impressive feat.
Yeah, not easy.
Right. Well, Angie gets kidnapped. Constantine has to follow her. Eventually, he chases it all down and discovers that basically everything is coming to a head in the same mental institution where Isabel died. So he runs up. Chaz also manages to fuck up pretty seriously because he's terrible. Chaz is played by Shia LaBeouf, and that's really all you need to know.
That's kind of a given.
That's all you need to know. So Constantine runs in. He tries to keep Rachel Weisz's character from giving birth to the son of Satan. And what he does is he commits suicide. And that summons the devil because the devil has wanted to claim Constantine's soul for quite some time. Apparently his soul is tasty. I don't know.
That tasty soul.
Like nom 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 nom. Yeah, no, like I mean it's with the fresh Chianti.
It's right.
Right.
Put the 7 on this, put on top of your head, tongue beat your brains out to get to it.
Right. Yeah, so the devil shows up and basically puts a stop to this whole mess, because Constantine's like, I don't think you want to do this because your kid is going to upset the balance. He's going to try to take over your kingdom. Like, it's kind of a Charlie Foxtrot. Maybe you should deal with this.
Yep.
And Satan's like, yeah, I gotcha, but also you're mine now, bitch. And he's like, well, what do you want? Like, what can I grant you as a boon for helping me unfuck this situation? And Constantine asks for Isabel's soul to be released back to heaven. And that's about the point where Constantine is literally like bleeding out on the floor. Also, trigger warning. Trigger warning for this episode. And because he has now sacrificed himself, knowing that nothing good is like he's just going to hell, like he's accepted that and he's doing this for somebody else, he gets to go to heaven, and this pisses off Satan a tremendous amount because Satan wants him. And so Satan literally like rams his fingers into Constantine's lungs and pulls out the tumors in a really disgusting special effects sequence.
Yeah.
And basically fucks off.
But well done.
Right. Again, this movie had money behind it.
Yeah.
Especially for 2005.
Yeah.
So, and he fucks off to go wherever to do whatever Satan-y things he does. Then Constantine is a little pissed off by this point, and he's just like, all right, I need you to come out, Gabriel. And it turns out that Gabriel has been the mastermind of this entire thing. And Gabriel, of course, ends up losing I don't know, pick your pronouns. Gabriel is played by Tilda Swinton, but it's very obviously done to make it kind of like this very androgynous situation. So I don't know what pronouns Gabriel would use. I'm not sure Gabriel knows what pronouns Gabriel would use. So there's that. And Gabriel is just like, I'm doing this for the betterment of humanity. You do well when you suffer. And Constantine's like, humanity. You're an asshole. God clearly thinks you're an asshole because you got no more wings. chewing like Nicorette. And that's the movie.
I'm putting the ciggies aside.
Right, that's the movie. I mean, a lot of other people die kind of in the middle, and there are a lot of like gruesome deaths. For 2005, and for a film that's not actually intended to be a true horror film.
Right. Yeah, but it's gross, and it does a lot of those things well. It's definitely got some scary moments, if you will.
It's got a real thing for bugs, man.
Yeah, it definitely, which I don't like. So I just don't.
Oh my god! Like, I mean, when the bug starts crawling out of the dude's eye, I thought
that's a fast forward.
Right, it's an incredibly well done sequence, but it's also one that I never want to see again. I like
it's a Wrath of Khan thing in the ear, the earwig type. Okay, we're just gonna fast forward because I already know this part. Moment. Let's just move on here. I've seen it once, and I don't need to see it again. And not to say that I go back and watch either one of them very often, but if it's on, I see it like, okay. But
yeah, Dirty Confession, I do not actually watch, despite the fact that it's, I think, the best Trek movie. I do not watch Wrath of Khan all that often. Yeah. Now, I watch the shit out of some Voyage Home, which clearly means that none of my opinions are valid. But
no, that's bullshit. I find that bullshit. That's like my go-to, especially original series stuff, because that's probably one of the first ones I remember. I definitely remember seeing it in the theaters. I'm pretty sure I saw Khan. I don't remember exactly. I didn't see the first one in the theater. I know I saw Voyage Home in the theater, and that was like the first, I think we discussed this before. That was the first videotape my family purchased videotape we ever owned. Was Voyage Home. So I watched the shit out of that one.
Yeah, no, I saw that at a church lock-in, and why they were playing Voyage Home and Highlander 2, I will never figure out.
Did they not like you people, or?
Apparently not, no.
Especially with Highlander 2. I mean, Voyage Home, not a horrible movie. I mean, not like,
But again, I mean, when you're around, like, you're locked into the church with your youth group. I mean, so this is clearly, like, I'm from the South, and this is like a rite of passage that we all go through. And I say we all, like, most of, like, the white people, really. Yeah. Really, is what I'm gonna say.
Right out there on Front Street.
Yeah. So that was definitely a thing that my mother was trying very, very hard to get me into, and clearly it worked out tremendously well.
Sure did. Oh my mom. Yeah.
Constantine, also, this movie is very, very grounded in Catholic mythos, like this whole concept that, it's a mortal sin to take your own life, blah, 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 blah. Other denominations don't have that. And, and Hellblazer doesn't have a particularly Catholic bent to it. It's definitely more generalized.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think this is the part where we need to talk about, like, what are the real differences between, movie Constantine and, for real Constantine.
For real Constantine. I mean, there's so many, right? We could talk about the books, obviously, the Matt Ryan version. Which did you want to talk about?
So let's start with Hellblazer, and then let's move to Matt Ryan, because Matt Ryan, I encountered the Matt Ryan for the first time actually in Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Okay, yeah.
To tell you a little bit about me.
Yeah. One of my least favorite of the series, but yeah.
Yeah, but he's still fantastic, though.
He's great. The game too much boat shit. There's way too much sailing. Yeah. It didn't quite have the sailing engine down really well. It was really cumbersome, and
I mean, it wasn't Red Dead Redemption horse riding bad, but it was pretty close.
The first one. Because the second one's beautiful. I love the horse riding.
The second one, they unfuck it, but like the first one was just such an ordeal. Like, trying to get that worked out.
But I mean, the Assassin's Creed. I know we're way off topic here, but the Assassin's Creed, like, I feel like even from the beginning, the horse riding wasn't that bad. Like, even from the first one, I remember it was pretty good. Like the speed and how you sped up and how it felt to ride the horse.
Again, I do not understand what they think they were doing with pirate. I guess they were like, let's make it pirates, but
we like pirates. Like, the Caribbean was probably big at the time. Everybody loves pirates. We love Jack Sparrow. Let's do a pirate version.
Right. But the good thing about it is that they brought us Matt Ryan, who then later, of course, gets hired by NBC to be Constantine. And y'all, like, this is the most perfect Constantine I think we have ever seen and will ever see.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan sounds the way he's supposed to. Admittedly, they do have to frost his hair.
Yeah, which is fine. You can definitely tell it's frosted, but I'm okay with that. Like, you could tell they color it, but I'm okay with that.
But
he definitely
like,
pulls dickish really well.
Yeah, no, like he actually, I mean, although I will say, the NBC version of Constantine, it was NBC, right? I'm not making that up.
Yeah, because then they moved him over to CW, obviously, once they put him onto Legends, but once the first show went, because they had like one season, I think.
It was one season long, and it was basically killed because they brought in a telenovela actress to do it, and she approached it like a telenovela, and don't get me wrong, there's a place in my heart for telenovelas, right? Like, I do love me an overacted drama.
Yeah.
It was just not Constantine, and it just didn't super work.
Right.
And again, they also sort of messed with Chaz, and then they did something strange with him and made him American, and that was weird. Yeah, but I think I really wish that show had gotten 2 seasons, because I think they were really in the process of finding their feet and figuring out what it was they wanted to do.
Yeah, it's super frustrating all over the board when you have properties that have backstory and you don't bother to really read it, understand it, and keep it going, right? The stories can be the stories that can go anywhere. You can take Constantine to space if you wanted to. To me, it doesn't matter as long as you write a good story that's grounded in the characters' history and motivations, and not just the main character, the other characters, the supporting characters around them. They don't always have to be, well, he was a white guy, has to be a white guy. No, I don't really care. He can be whatever, but the essence of the character should still be there.
He needs to be David Bowie with a personality defect.
I mean, that particular character, I think, does. You know what I mean? If you want to do a Constantine Earth 2 and he's whatever, I don't have a struggle with that. The Constantine
still got to be an asshole, though. And I will say this, NBC wasn't willing to go as far as it necessarily needs to. Remember, I talked about that first story with the Hunger Demon at the beginning of the show. They actually did that show. They did that story on the show. Like, they were clearly reading the comics, but what they end up doing, rather than having Constantine brick him up in a wall so he doesn't have to bother listening to the screams, and then fucking off for drinks, he sits there and holds the guy's hand as he dies. Even NBC wanted a nicer Constantine,
right? And more
than we really get.
Yeah, I don't want warm and fuzzy Constantine.
It just doesn't work. I mean, because like there literally is a point in Hellblazer where nobody will take him, so he becomes functionally immortal because nobody wants him.
Right.
Like, he has pissed off so many characters. Like, he's pissed off God, he's pissed off the devil, and they're like,
you make a friend.
Yeah, like, fuck you. Just you go off, and we're gonna create your medium place just for you.
So now, when they bring him over to CW and they put him on Legends, what did you think of that?
So, to be fair, I didn't actually follow Legends of Tomorrow. So, and this is going to sound terrible, but I have a weird relationship with the CW adaptations, because they try to be dark, and so a lot of them, like Arrow, tries really hard to be dark and gritty, like teen drama, and I'm like, that doesn't really work
on CW,
right? I will say, I think Legends was actually, like, I did follow the first seasons of Legends before Constantine got on it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was actually interesting and cool and fun. And I just, I had twins and fell off the wagon.
Return. They kind of rewrote the script on that series. They rewrote what they were trying to do on that series. And the first season or 2 was very grounded in the comic book stuff when you had Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Then when they started like switching out characters, and by like the 4th season, whatever, it just became like a clown show. It was fun. They had musical episodes, and it was like, especially when they're doing the time travel stuff, and they're, they're just doing some really wacky jump on the shark.
Like, I mean, this is literally what they do. Is the CW has tried really hard to copy the Buffy formula from the 90s,
right?
And the problem is that we're not in the 90s anymore,
right? Yeah, and then I don't know.
Which is to say, if you like the
characters aren't all in
CW,
high school and everything either. You can get away with that with Stargirl because they are.
yeah.
But in Flash and all those other shows, they're not.
Literally, what they're trying to do is the fact that Grant. I mean, they're trying to capitalize on the fact that we know Grant Gustin can sing because he was in High School Musical or whatever.
He was in Glee.
Glee, that's what it was.
Yeah, he was a Glee, and so was Supergirl.
Yeah.
And that's why they did that crossover episode where they're both singing, which was one of the songs at my wedding, by the way. I think our final dance song was we call it Sad Flash.
So this is my shocked face.
Yeah, and Run Home to Me or whatever it was. Yeah, we used that as our last dance. So love that song. I can sing the whole thing. I'm not going to because I appreciate my audience. Going and sing it, but I can't. It does sound like somebody beating a bag of cats when I do it, so I try not to do it in public.
Yeah, I don't
bag of cats, but yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, I have a weird relationship with all of the CW adaptations because I think when they're good, they're really, really great, but generally they're kind of mediocre.
Yeah, I think, and then obviously they start to die a slow death now. Flash is really the only one left standing from the original stuff. Legends is gone, and Arrow is gone, and Batwoman's gone.
Batwoman, I am actually kind of pissed off about. I understand why it happened. I understand how it happened, but I'm still kind of pissed off about it because I thought it was such an interesting take.
Yeah.
And I really liked seeing Ruby Rose as Carol Kane.
I did too until the shit hit the fan, and she didn't want to do it anymore. And that's always kind of a slow death for a show when you switch out the main character, love her or hate her, whatever. It's really tough for a show to survive very long after you switch out the main character, and everybody's got to figure out why this other person is now Batwoman. And
you're like, what?
I don't.
But then again, though, if you have been a long-term fan of comics, this is not new to you.
No.
This is not new to you. I'm sorry, new 52
with her. Yeah, we had a season with her. You know what I mean? By the second season, she's gone. All right, don't get to know them too well. Don't get too close because they could be gone. Arrow lasted a good long time, and it was time for it to go. As sad as it was, because the crossover stuff was always my favorite. And some of it was handled pretty decently, and some of it they'll always screw the pooch. The fact that they, had the Justice League basically in the Hall of Justice and never really did anything with it was super frustrating. The fact that we had a teaser of Glee from the Wonder Twins and nothing. We never got a payoff on that. I mean, that was again super frustrating. There's so many great directions they could have gone and just went other directions. And now we have I know we're way off Constantine here, but we just found out that the Superman and Lois has nothing to do with the other shows. It's not connected to them at all. It's a different universe, and he kind of looks, he looks like the Superman that was in their universe. That's the only connection. The costume is different, everything's different. So I guess we're off. So there's no hope of connecting them together at all. So,
but I mean, and the CW has been doing that with random reboots for a while now. I mean, they tried to reboot Roswell. That went.
Yep. Yep. Charmed.
Yep.
They rebooted Charmed. I know that.
I think that actually made it 3 seasons, though.
Yeah, they did okay with it. At least that one they got kind of right? But it's hard. I think it's really hard. To, even with things like the Constantine character. Now you have Matt Ryan. He's the epitome of it. What else do you do? Right? How else?
Why they never threw him in with Lucifer, I will never know.
Right. Why didn't we do that? That could have been.
I mean, they had that brief, and it's super brief. They bring him on to do. It's just a brief encounter with Lucifer in the club.
Yeah, but that was an easy get, right? That's an easy thing to do and make it just magical for people, especially nowadays where everybody's into cross connecting. All the Marvel movies are connected together, including the TV shows. So I know some people feel like they're getting sick of it, and other people are like, yeah, I'm of the club of give me more.
Yeah,
right.
I love DC properties. I love DC. Have loved DC forever. I was never an Avengers fangirl. I was never a Spider-Man fangirl. I was really into Batman, less Hellblazer, obviously Hellblazer. I think I've successfully outed myself here. And it just frustrates me because we have these great characters that they can do such wonderful things with.
Yeah.
and they just keep letting me down. Hawkeye series, I'm looking at you. And I'm just like, guys,
that's Marvel.
Except that's DC, Marvel, but yeah, no, but like it's the same kind of deal though. Like,
yeah,
because
no,
DC has the CW, and we've talked about this like the DC like, blah, I'm dying here.
Where's that?
This is kind of like last night when you couldn't stay online.
I know you were not taking over the show. Right, I was totally superfluous to that conversation.
I cannot do words tonight. No. But yeah, like the CW again, like we have those issues with the CW shows, and then like the fact that nothing connects up. Like even like movie wise, they can't figure out what it is they're doing.
They feel like they want to connect them, but don't. I don't know. You know what I mean? We kind of have the Snyderverse, but now we're going to die. And
we fucked it up really hard, so let's just make another Batman movie. And then we fucked that one real hard, so let's make another Joker movie.
And we're going to fuck it real hard with the musical version. Absolutely.
Yo, I have.
I mean, I think it was.
I have a real hate for that film. Like I have a real hate.
And I think they should have just. I mean, they should have just left it where they left it, and him.
Yeah. No, I mean, literally, there was no part of that. There was no part of that was going to come out well. Like, no part of it. And rather than, like, embracing that, I mean, because that particular Joker, and again, we are so far off Constantine, but at least we're in the same universe this time.
In the DC universe.
With the fact that I keep conflating the two. So go me.
It's okay. If you bring in a Joker and you connect it at the very end to Batman, and you're not planning on... I mean, are they planning on building a universe where he's in, then you actually get to see Batman eventually? If you don't,
Batman's like 5, so like, how is that going to work?
Yeah, I mean, they keep threatening to feel like he's not the Joker we know. He's like an original version of the Joker, and then we get a different version of the Joker later on, who's taking up the mantle, almost like Batman Beyond, where like the Joker was, you know what I mean, that type of thing. But
which was really solid.
The show? I love Batman Beyond.
Yeah. Like, I mean, this is not going to be on this show where we hate on it. Like,
no, that they need to finally get off their ass and do, Michael Keaton as old man, Bruce, and you know what I mean, and get somebody in there to be Terry. And
Michael Keaton has been like, fine, fuck it. Like, I am going to return to the superhero genre, and he did. Yeah, he obviously did Birdman, and then he does Spider-Man.
Yep.
And it's just like, yeah, no, I got this.
Yeah, he's back in the suit for 2 movies. Like, I mean, that's pretty awesome. For the guy who's pretty much had retired at that point, like he was pretty much like, yeah, I'm kind of done. No real hatred for Hollywood or anything like that. It's just kind of like, yeah, I'm at my ranch and I really don't feel like traveling back and forth anymore. I'm old enough. I did my time. I got plenty of money. Why bother? They're like, oh, well, it could be Batman again. I guess I really liked that. Why not?
I think he liked it. He liked it. I think he was super excited about it.
And he's super excited getting the chance in the suit.
Yeah. I think he really dug it, and I think you're right. I think it'd be really interesting to bring back Michael Keaton Batman specifically. Yeah. Like, I can't really think of anybody else that I'd want to see come back.
I would like to see another Ben Affleck. I want to see his Batman movie with him as Batman again,
because we don't really see Batman. We see a lot of Bruce Wayne out of him.
We do, and the Batman we got, for me, it was lots of bits of wonderful. Yeah, stuck
because
in shit.
Really, really understood what Batman is, which is Batman is super smart and super rich, and he can build weird shit.
Mm-hmm. And he
can fight. There was none of this pseudo Asian-inspired spiritualism that we got with that other
franchise. Yeah, but he was an excellent fighter. He was pissed off. He was afraid.
And also, Affleck is huge.
Yeah, he really bulked.
Like he bulked up. He looked like some of the more recent Batman versions.
Yeah, he totally
like I've got a couple of covers framed. And
I wasn't a huge fan of the costume in Justice League. They kind of make it like teched out a little bit.
Yeah, but that works. That works because there are a number of situations where Batman actually has like that super armored batsuit thing going on.
Oh, yeah, I know it drives me crazy. It absolutely drives me crazy.
I'm not saying that it's not a good thing or a bad thing.
So unnecessary. It's so unnecessary.
Except when you see it kind of isn't though, because like Batman is ultimately a dude. He's going up against Superman.
Yeah. But no,
like he's going up against alien Jesus.
No, I have no problem with him being the mech suit for Superman, because in Dark Knight Returns, that's exactly what he did. You have to do that if you're going to go toe to toe with Superman, and you have to pull out all your toys and all your kryptonite and everything you can do. That I don't have a problem with. It's when you're using like a bat suit that has like the goggles and all these like weird attachments to the uniform that seem kind of extra Kevlar protection, mechanical stuff. Like
it's
even
like
in
a tactical version of the 60s Batman.
Yeah, I don't need it. I just want the.
Seriously, are you gonna tell me that you're not gonna be like that bat shark repellent isn't like one of your favorite things?
It totally is one of my favorite things, but like you remain the suit the entire time. Like, there weren't other versions of the suit. It was just that suit.
Right.
The cardboard little, logo on the front, and it just
and like that epic sort of pleather, and it like where it had like the eyebrows painted on.
Yeah, the eyebrows painted on. The utility belt was basically like sponge or cardboard, and you could see when like when it was sponge, and you see all the, especially when it's high def.
Occasionally the dance belt would slip, and it would be really awkward.
Yep. He pulls out giant shields from behind his cape and magically sticks up his ass. I guess I don't really know how he makes it disappear, but it's just gone. Don't drop the soap, but there's.
Man.
And that's all. But Batman's a ninja. We don't need to armor him up, a la the Gotham games. The Arkham Asylum games. Like, I love
those.
I love those games. Some of my favorite games to play. I didn't need, especially by the last one, Ultra Mech Warrior Batman. Like, it just was so unnecessary.
Except that they're trying to come up with something new. Like, and that's really,
you have to make a new costume every time.
And they have to give you options to upgrade so that you can actually do those missions so that you can get the elements to upgrade and blah 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 blah. Right?
I'm fine with the tech part of it, but I don't need he's got better chest tech armor. Doesn't need it, but get better, sonar stuff, get better armor, get better weapons inside your utility belt. That all works for me. I got a cough.
Thank you for announcing it. All right, so Marco's dying over there.
There we go. I'm
you guys
back.
get to listen to me.
I'm back. So yeah, just I don't need that. I don't need any of that stuff. And changing, like Constantine, changing the costumes is just unnecessary. Change the look of the feel. I'm not even going to the white sets. We're not going to the white sets tonight. I'm not dying on that.
That was the other problem with Constantine, right? Okay, so let's talk about actually like the film for a second, and just the color palette that they use.
Yeah.
It's the same black that we had in the Matrix, and it's just like, but it doesn't work here. And they even put Rachel Weisz's character in the same color palette.
Right.
And everything is muted and everything is crazy, except of course, like the institutional green.
There's the green. I was going to say there's the Matrix green in there.
That's not even the Matrix green, man. Like that is like health facility green.
Yep.
Like that is legit. Yep. And also fun fact, that green is not calming and it makes everybody crazier and it just sort of sends us all into a spiral. So well done. Well done, America. Yeah, there's real science behind that actually. But anyway, so like, but it's all super muted, and it's all just kind of, and it's just like, okay, and we literally put Rachel Weisz's character in a mirror almost of what Constantine is wearing, like almost like to the point that she steals one of his shirts, and because like Keanu Reeves in 2005 weighs approximately 3 pounds, it fits her.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Like every time he turns around, he like disappears.
He's no John Wick at this point.
No, no. But he still does like some crazy shit. I mean, we get some like pretty epic Matrix jumps because there's this that whole like when Angie gets ripped away by Gabriel, I think, or
it is Gabriel. If Jason's still on, I'm sure he'll correct us.
Right. Either way, it doesn't really matter because none of that was important. Like Mammon wasn't really important at all. We get like this random Mexican dude that like keeps advancing, holding the Lance of Longinus. Because apparently, and also, they didn't think we were smart enough to know what the Lance of Longinus is. And it's like, and I'm like, dude, literally everybody who is sitting in this fucking theater right now has seen all of Evangelion, man. Like, come on.
Yeah, if you're going to go to a Constantine movie, you have to, I mean, it's not an A-list character. It's not like Batman, like, okay, I know this, what's going on. You have to really know and have studied this character to
and
love.
I think that's actually why they decided to create this new mythos with like that they were trying to explore, and they had to basically. And they do borrow elements from Hellblazer, but Hellblazer ran forever, and so there was so much to distill that they felt like they had to make it available to people who were not fans of the comic. And to be fair, I think again,
film all that backstory in 2 hours, so you can borrow elements from it. So this is in their defense, you can't shove that all into 2 hours, even though Snyder tried in Batman v Superman. He tried to stuff in as many storylines as he possibly could into one movie.
I have real thoughts about that.
I'm sure you do, and I'm glad you do. It chaps my ass every time I think about it.
I hate it so much. I hate that movie. I even hate it more than what they did with Superman.
I have a love-hate for those movies, especially Batman v Superman, right? The whole Martha thing. Obviously, everybody knows that's the biggest stupid out thing you've ever seen in your life. But I love their Batman. I love
borrowing from one of the greatest storylines.
I love the introduction of Wonder Woman, though. You know what I mean? That was a great introduction for Wonder Woman to me. Her battle, and when their version of Doomsday knocks her back, and she just tilts her head and smiles and then jumps at the bastard like that. I'm gonna fuck you up now, dude. That was pitch perfect. She's like, I got you. You know what I mean? That was I basically stood up and cheered. You know what I mean? It's that was awesome. That was the right thing to do.
Gal Gadot has just nailed it.
She really has, and I'm glad. I'm so glad she did. I want to see more of her in that role. I think she's really owned that role, and it didn't just seem like a paycheck to her. She really loves that character and wants to do it right. She wants to do that character justice, and that's what you want to see in any of these movies.
And I don't want her story as Wonder Woman to end in 1984.
No, I know. I don't want that to be the last.
And also,
one.
BT Dubs, let us never bring Chris Pine back. We're done.
I know. It's unnecessary at this point. He can just be gone. But even in the old TV show, they brought him back, right? They brought Kyle Wagner back in a different. Even they changed the timeline. They changed when she was in history, from season 1 to 2 or 2 to 3. I forget. I think it's 1 and 2.
But I think that's the problem of the 70s, right? Because Linda Carter managed again. Linda Carter
wasn't her grandson or something. Wasn't it his grandson or something like that?
Yeah. So Linda Carter takes this role and owns it, and and she unapologetically kicks ass.
Yep.
And that is not something that happened in the 70s. I mean, even in terms of say Bionic Woman, there's always this kind of awareness that there's got to be a dude in the background somehow that's going to fix the problem.
Yeah.
And Linda Carter's Wonder Woman didn't really do that. So they have Steve Trevor come in.
Basically to be her Lois Lane.
Yeah.
To always be the one getting in trouble, and she has to keep saving them.
And I loved it.
Loved it.
Man, saw that on syndication, watched it in my grandmother's living room, and may or may not have had an awakening. Just saying. But but it was just so okay. Brian. I am gonna get to Peter Stormare. We're gonna get there, my dude. Hold on.
Hold on. Wait for it.
I still want to rhapsodize about Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman a little bit longer. So I love seeing these people who take these characters. I mean, Margot Robbie was.
You want to rant about it?
I do.
There you go. I got to be back on brand. I got to pull it back on brand whenever possible.
I mean, I'm surprised. Oh no! I see the hat.
Listen, there was a request made last night. I can't,
I mean, I came on it and I'm like, what the hell? You're wearing something that's not branded?
I know.
What's going on, Marco? It's not it's like I don't even know you anymore.
They made sure. Hey, give me my Entertainment Rants hat. Give me the hat.
Well, but we have these great women in the DC universe, right? Say what you will about Margot Robbie and Birds of Prey and Harley Quinn. Margot Robbie owns that shit.
Yeah, I just don't like what they did to her in the last Suicide Squad. So, wow, I got your disease tonight. The Suicide Squad movie. I don't I don't really like what they did with her. I think they really shoved her to the side and made her, other than that one like hallway scene where she's busting out and just kicking ass with all the animation around it, which I thought was fun. I mean, it's, you know, it's a goofy, silly movie anyway. When you have a giant shark walking around trying to eat everybody, you know, it is what it is, and a big starfish walking down the street. Like, it is what it is. But beyond that, she was just like having the weird scene with the you know, the drug lord guy, and just, I don't know, they just kind of like put her to the back in that movie, and I didn't really like that.
No, and I mean, I actually like because of the reviews and because of the discussion about what they did with Harley Quinn, I was just like, I'm gonna give this one a pass.
Yeah, I watched it because I watch just about anything. If it's in my genre, it's in my wheelhouse, I'll watch it. I didn't see Birds of Prey yet, but I will end up watching it eventually.
It is also an underrated film. I think it got a lot of unreasonable hate. I mean, it's not a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination. I am not saying that. But I do think it got a lot of unwarranted hate.
So here's my problem.
Female driven.
Even though I haven't seen it, going into that movie, when you look at that movie and you see the other characters that are in that movie, the other heroes, they weren't basically the Birds of Prey. None of them scream the characters that I know. I know who they are, but you don't recognize any of them.
Wait and watch the movie, and then we'll talk.
Okay.
Wait and watch the movie, and then we'll talk. Because I think there's parts of that you're missing, that aren't going to make nearly as much sense to you until you've seen the film. And you know, like, I get it. I understand your frustration. Like, the costuming's weird. Like, you know,
which to me, knowing me, that's one of my biggest points of contention with any movie.
I do. I get it, but like, this is more a prequel to that.
Yep. And
so they haven't quite figured it out yet. In fact, they literally end up working that out at the end of the film. So like I said, just wait and sort of watch it, and then we can talk about it. And don't sort of watch it like
it's another effing origin story.
But I really like how they did this one.
Need an origin story.
I like how they did this one. And what's interesting about this one is it's very much self-driven in a way that a lot of the origin stories for comic characters are not. Like, they're all in response to an event or whatever. They're very reactionary. And yes, Harley Quinn does end up, like, there is some of that happens. I mean, yes, that's true. That's very true, because we needed to dump Jared Leto's Joker. Yeah,
and which I'm okay with. I have no struggle with that. I think he's absolutely right. We had to get past the Joker and make her independent. You didn't need him, so we can leave that crap behind.
But I mean, it really ends up being like, it really ends up being a Harley-centric movie, and it ends up being like this whole. It's very empowering in a lot of ways, and I like how they handle it. And so, like, I just watch it and then we'll talk.
Okay, I'll watch it. Hopefully, I'll get to this weekend, and I will talk about it because I want to like it. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not saying I don't like it because I haven't seen it yet. But it's just like looking at it from the outside, even though it's well within my wheelhouse. I'm like, none of that screams like, okay, that's Bertinelli. She's Huntress. I don't see Huntress there at all. None of the previews, nothing is showing me Huntress. But it's, I mean, how long is the movie? Let's say it's an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. I want to see an hour and a half of Huntress. I don't want to see Huntress become Huntress. I know how she became Huntress.
Then you're gonna be pissy. Like, you're gonna be pissy, and we're gonna have to fight about it on air.
Welcome to Marco's world.
I mean, what else is new, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, talking about like highlights and good things that we see in films that might otherwise not have worked, let's go back to Peter Stormare. Like, that ending sequence is fucking phenomenal in Constantine.
It has.
Was it Brian who said
qualities? The sequences are phenomenal. When
Peter Stormare, like, lower him down to the floor and his feet are covered in tar and he walks forward and he's just like, this is probably my favorite role for him, honestly, because he just nails it.
Yeah.
This is not fun Lucifer. This is not Tom Ellis's fun Lucifer. This is not the Sandman Lucifer that we're going to see eventually. And by God, if you cover that and you don't invite me, we are no longer friends.
It's over. It's been great. The friendships, we laughed, we cried. It was a feel good of the summer.
Right. You know, we managed to. What was it that we were fighting over? Like, I said something that I didn't like, and you were just like, "Meh."
I don't remember.
Star Wars. I think it was Star Wars.
It might have been Star Wars. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's good.
I mean, just how they manages to do it. Yes, he does.
Absolutely.
He does. We talked about that, and he pulls the tumors out, and they're like these nasty tissue.
I like it, right? Yeah.
And it's so much better because it's a practical effect from 2005. Constantine is one of those films where they use the CGI well. Because I will say this, having sat down and watched most of it
again, yeah, sure,
today, I was really expecting it to be very, very dated, and it's not.
No, it does hold up very well. It absolutely holds up very well. You know,
I mean, did a really great job with just making sure.
The Matrix, even the original Matrix, like this, the CGI stuff, actually holds up pretty well. And like this, like you said, this was kind of Matrix light. You know what I mean? They used him because they're coming off of that, but yeah, I think they did, which is nice to see. You know what I mean?
I mean, so much of it was practical effects. So much of it, I mean, yeah, like they for sure CGI'd like thousands of fucking bugs, but like, okay, fair enough. How else are you going to do that?
The bugs.
Right. So many bugs in this movie. I loved the design for the demons. I love the headless design for the demons. I thought that was fantastic and how they managed to do that. But yeah, and then and so we go back to this iconic sequence at the end. And like you see it in the trailer, right? Like where, you know, Satan is just like, fuck it, and shatters all the glass, and then he walks through it because like he doesn't exist on the same time frame that we do. And all of this is taking place in the amount of time that it takes Constantine to bleed out, which is not that doesn't take that long, guys.
No.
It doesn't take that long. Like, and they even make a point where he can't like live, he can't function with his hands don't function anymore because he slices the tendons and the ligaments.
Yep.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that. But even beyond the Stormari moment, my favorite moment of the film is Gabriel. When Gabriel falls down and he, she, it, I don't know, pick your pronoun, is wearing, you know, that white outfit, and then like their arms are covered in hospital name tags because that's calling back to the symbolism from Isabel's death, and all the things that she's pulled out of hell effectively. It's, I mean, Tilda Swinton is just bonkers batshit enough to carry it off. I love it. I also really love
Tilda's wonderful. I just enjoy watching Tilda do what she does. You know what I mean? Like, just, I don't know.
It's bonkers, man. Like, I mean, it's bonkers, and she picks the weirdest shit to do.
She really does. Yeah.
No, Tilda Swinton is in fact a goddamn chameleon.
Absolutely.
And I can't really think of any other. I mean, I think Ruby Rose could do that kind of Gabriel now, but I can't think of anybody else who would carry off that level of. I mean, I guess we could possibly do Ezra Miller, but like Ezra Miller's so icky that I don't want any more part of it.
Yeah, I think we're done with Ezra. I think we're done with Ezra. I think Ezra has to just sort of ride off into the sunset, try to avoid some jail time, and just do what Ezra can do. You know, we need to move on from Ezra.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's one of the ones I don't mind ignoring. Okay, let's just ignore. But again, if you don't watch the crazy, you have to. Otherwise, it's, you know.
But then again, we don't know if we're gonna get like super crazy Flash either.
Yeah.
Why is it a no for you?
Right, Icky is putting it mildly. Yeah, exactly. Icky is putting it mildly. You know, it just kind of. But if you don't, you have to understand, learn from the crazy, because otherwise somebody will do it too. So if you don't,
so much of this crazy. Like, have you seen the headlines about like the guy who plays Homelander? Apparently, he's literally trying to channel Homelander.
Yeah, but I feel like he's another one of those sort of like method type of dudes. Like, dude, it's 5
like,
o'clock.
I mean,
But
beating the shit out of some dude in Spain, like, there's a limit, man. There's
and I've never done what they do, right? I don't sit there for 12, 14 hours a day having to live and breathe and eat and shit these characters, and you have to get into the side of their head and do all stuff. But at some point, you have to be better at it. Get some good therapy, get a good bottle of something, and hang up the cape when you leave and leave it in your, you know what I mean? Leave it in wardrobe and go home and just be you. You know what I mean? So
literally, I think the only person who's managed. I mean, yeah, like for
sure.
He is, and which actor are we talking about here? Like Ezra Miller, like Homelander.
I think he's talking about Homelander, but
both?
It is. It could be both. But yeah,
which to be fair, I mean, like that is exactly who Homelander's supposed to be. I was also a huge fan of The Boys, and it amazed me.
Both.
Oh yeah. Like it amazed me, like talking about The Boys, because we're now like, all right, fuck it. Like, bye, Constantine. We're done.
Talking about pretty much anything we want at this point. We've covered Constantine through and through. I think. Right. From that back to what we can, but we've really covered Constantine for as much as it really deserves to be.
I got to admit, like, I'm super shocked at the people who are suddenly going, You mean The Boys is anti-conservative?
Yeah.
Where have you been?
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, and I've never read the comics. Like, I've always meant to read the comics. I just never did.
Oh, and it's all
Jason's
there.
Brian's gonna go. Brian, we'll see you later.
Bye, Brian.
Awesome episode this week, sir. I really enjoyed it. From the Three Geeky Dad podcast.
Yeah, I have no idea who this dude is.
Yeah, Brian's one of the 3/4 Geeky Dads. Great show this week. Really good, really funny stuff. If you ever get a chance, I like to promote their show all the time. If you get a chance, you gotta start listening to the Three Geeky Dads.
I'm sorry, I thought this was part of your like podcast skirmish.
Podcast wars. It's a mild skirmish. Those guys are fantastic. We love those guys. I can't wait to get them all on the show one time. Our group, their group, it's going to be a nightmare, but it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people to manage at one time. So we'll see.
Like, I mean, Bruno's going to be screaming over folks. It's going to be
great. Yeah. I'm definitely going to have to make sure my webcam is up to speed and I'm hardwired into the Wi-Fi, to the network.
Right? So like none of what happened last night. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't need to be here. I'm out, bitches, and I'm out.
But yeah, I mean, so The Boys, going back to this, so The Boys comes out in the mid 90s, roughly. I think it was like 1995, and it's like Vought is literally supposed to be Blackwater.
Yeah.
Right. And it's supposed to be lampooning the entire like Bush era like situation. And I get maybe not knowing, because The Boys is kind of The Boys is kind of like not a huge title, right? I mean, it's one of those off-brand whatever.
It's kind of like Invincible, like something you didn't necessarily hear of until like, oh, so there's a cartoon. Like, oh, what is this? It's a comic,
which was fucking amazeballs. Can we talk about how amazing Invincible was?
Oh my god, first episode.
I need more of it. Like, where Amazon, where are you?
Yeah, there'll be more. We know there's going to be more. Just the pandemic's put up so much shit. Rough timing of everything, so we'll get some more of that. But I mean, but The Boys have been able to pump out, and pardon the.
I know, and it's like, even though Wee Huey doesn't actually look like Wee Huey is actually not. He doesn't look like he's supposed to,
right?
And this is fun because in the first season, Huey's dad is played by Simon Pegg, who was the actual inspiration for Wee Huey. Like, they literally pick up his face and then like adapt it, and then that's the character.
So do you think they just, not that they couldn't get him, but like he was obligated to?
I think he was just too old.
Couldn't be in the series.
I think he was just too old, and he had other things to do. Like, he was too old to be Wee Huey.
Isn't he just in the Mission Impossible movies as well as doing other stuff like Star Wars or anything like that? I think he is. He's been in a few of the Mission Impossible movies. So
I mean, that is true.
He's been busy doing that stuff.
But like, we've established that I have lost track of the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah. Me too.
Like, I mean, periodically, like, my husband and I will look at each other and be like, okay, so we know this is a Mission Impossible movie. Did we see it?
Yeah, have we seen this one? Let's see, Irredeemable is a good comic like The Boys and Invincible. Haven't picked that one up yet. It's been so long. I've been too busy buying pop figures. I haven't had a chance.
Marco's like, I need to take out another mortgage.
Yeah. Well, no, now with the new school location, we might be thinning out that herd of pop figures. Every time you start hitting this, let's thin that herd up a little bit. Maybe I don't need all the ad icon ones that I have, and
let's not lie. You're literally going to take them to the school and display them in your office.
I already have some. I have all my karate-based ones, my Bruce Lee's, Chuck Norris. There's a few superheroes, a couple of my Bob Ross, a couple of my open Bob Ross, a couple of open Batman and Superman and Michael Scott from The Office. Yeah, there's a few in there that I have, but mostly like my Kato, Bruce Lee, my Johnny and Daniel from Karate Kid from the Cobra Kai. I wish I had the Karate Kid ones, but I have the Cobra Kai versions. Yeah. No, I agree with Greg. It's more money well spent. But at some point, some of them have to go. Because I have 482 of them. Where the fuck am I ever going to display them? I get a man cave. There's no way you're displaying that many in one room. It's not happening.
I mean, it's going to be floor to ceiling.
Yeah.
Funko Pops.
I don't want to do. Yeah, I don't want to do floor to ceiling. I want to have shelving. I want to do stuff, but I want other things on the walls too. So might be time to thin the herd.
I'm not gonna lie. Our man cave is so confused.
Yeah, but I'm an in the box collector too. I have them all pretty much in the box. 99.9% of them are in box, so with protectors. So that makes it even harder, right? It's even harder to display them because the box obviously takes up so much space. If I was not a box collector, it wouldn't be that bad. You can tighten them up.
For my husband, it's literally like the Warhammer figures, which are smaller, but they have still managed to take over. Our den is literally an enclosed garage because the lady we bought the house from was just fucking nuts. I mean, seriously, she was fucking nuts. She carved a dog door in the master bedroom wall. There was an actual door to the outside 10 feet from the dog door in question. But
that's where the dog wanted to go out, kept banging its head against the wall.
And it was literally sized for this god-awful teacup poodle that, has been shrunk to the point where it no longer is continent because it's
a rat hole. It's a rat hole. It's like a Tom and Jerry. Jerry went through that hole.
Yes.
Got it.
And then we didn't realize it when we bought the house because she had a dresser in front of it. And then, and my husband was, of course, in Turkey, and I was here. And so I'm just and I'm doing the final walkthrough, and I'm like, what the fuck is this hole in the wall? No, she was nuts, man.
That's crazy.
Nuts.
Maybe we button that up first. Maybe that's one of the things we do first when we renovate. We button up that weird hole.
Yeah, no, Robert had to go get some cancer in a can and fix it.
Yep. Let's patch that up. Patch that up.
I was like, I do not need a hole going to the exterior in my bedroom. Please and thank you.
Let's just button that right up. So yeah. Oh boy. All right, Marie. We had an hour.
Marco's I'm done with you now.
It's an hour and 12. We crushed Constantine really well.
I know. We stayed on topic comparatively.
We did right to the last 12 minutes. I mean, go us. Virtual high fives from Marie. Pop. Stupid Brio. Anyway, the trash.
I look forward to you fixing that. But yeah.
Yes.
Go watch Birds of Prey, and then we'll talk.
Yes, I got the Birds of Prey. What are we going to be up to next, Marie?
That's a good question. I think it's your turn to pick because I picked the last two.
I think you're right. All right. I'll get back to you because it's 11 o'clock and my brain is fried. I've been up since early. We took Christian for his first COVID shot today, so we had literally had the first appointment.
I am so excited for you, though.
I walked in, there was nobody in the waiting room, nothing. We got a shot. I walked out. It was packed in the waiting room. In the 5 minutes we were in the office, I had to fill out one form. They gave him the shot, and we're out of there.
Oh, we can't even do it in the doctor's office. We literally have to go to Walgreens. And
some of our Walgreens or whatever won't do it. Some of them they won't do it because they don't want the liability for under.
I mean, yeah, no, we've been because we had their well check 2 weeks ago. Not even 2 weeks ago, last week, and we were all like,
"Thank you, Craig.
Can we do? Yes, thank you, Jason. Can we do this? Can we do this?" And they're like, "Yeah, we would, but we don't have it, so you're gonna have to go to Walgreens." And I'm like, "What good are you?"
Yeah, we made sure our doctor's office, his pediatrician called and said we are getting the shots, and then he made the first appointment available. Mm-hmm. So I went this morning, and that's all good. He cried for 2 seconds and held me, and then he was fine. He moves on pretty quickly from things, so that was really good.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm spent, as you can imagine, because then I had to go and take him, came back home, take him to where he's babysitting,
dude.
Drive to
I
Life.
am also
Talking about the new space, like that was interesting, and so it's been a long.
Congratulations again on the new space. Super
Thank
excited
you.
for you.
We're super excited. We're super duper excited. So hopefully by November we'll be in there. October should be the build out, and November we'll be teaching classes in the new space. So start looking for some of the social media stuff on our Instagram and Facebook. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. We keep entertainment rants going. In fact, next Sunday we have our long day of podcasting.
What are you guys doing next Sunday?
We are doing, I know it's all like fodder, we're just chatting at each other now live while we're on the show, but that's okay. It's kind of what we do.
This is literally called promoting your future work.
So it really is. It's content. It's content. We're doing the second half of the Obi-Wan series. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I froze or if you froze, but I feel like maybe I feel like the internet gods have been like, yeah, no, we're done, Marco.
What happened? Where'd it go?
You disappeared.
So we're doing.
I think you have pissed off the internet gods. So let's just call it.
Did I just how'd that happen? How'd that happen? So we're doing Doctor Strange 2 and Super Mario Brothers with Bob Hoskins, right? And we're doing both the Kill Bill movies. We do the Kill Bill stuff. That's the plan, anyway. So I have to rewatch the Mario Brothers and the Kill Bill movies.
It's so awful.
It really is. The Kill Bill I know backwards and forwards. There's no, but I'm going to watch them again anyway because I just love the movie. So why not watch them again?
So fun fact: I've never actually seen them in English.
Really?
Yeah, I've never seen them in English. Like they came out when I was living in France, and so so I know them. I've seen them, but like. I have no idea. Like, I have no idea what they sound like in English.
Right, what they're supposed to sound like, right? The actual actors' voices, yeah.
Right, I have no idea.
They're worth another rewatch. Beyond, I mean, I love those movies. I have the Bride sword. It's really sharp. Cut a pillow by accident with it.
I gotta say, I'm a little shocked to hear that. Not that you have the sword, but that it's
no, that's what. Yeah, for some reason, it's like it was. It's a sword you can buy online. It was just really, really sharp when it came out of the. All right, I'll take it. So, because I collect.
Yeah.
I still have that one. I have the Michonne sword from Walking Dead. I have, of course, a couple of Highlander swords and whatnot. I had a Daywalker sword at one point. I got rid of that one. Yeah, the collection's there. So it's time to start thinning out the herd. It's definitely going to be because eventually we're going to move and we're going to thin out the herd. I'm going to travel light, but yeah. So the new space is going to be exciting, and we're ready to get going on it. We're ready to rock and roll. So there it is. There's me in a nutshell. So, all right, Marie, thank you.
Good luck. Godspeed, my friend.
Thank you, as always. Excellent show.
This was super fun. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Brian and Jason, for watching and commenting.
Yes, and Derek as well, who liked us, and Parrish Patton on as well for some reactions online. Thank you all very much. Make sure you check out Marie on the Trekker's Delight podcast. And where else can they find you, Marie?
I am at Game Industry News, where I do game reviews for indie games on Modern Gamer, and I write a weekly Star Trek column. Nice. Everyone's shocked to hear that.
Nice. And I know you got some other stuff coming up in the works. We're not going to talk about it unless you're ready. When you're ready to talk about it, when you're ready to talk about the new stuff you have coming up, you let me know.
No. So let's be real. So we are also like some girlfriends of mine from law school, and I are actually going to start a weird shit, a legal shit podcast. So certainly look for that. It's going to be super fun. We are literally going to start with the famous McDonald's tort case, mostly because it's like readily accessible for me.
Right. Yeah. Well, let me know when that's obviously. Let me know when it's gonna.
Obviously, and it's gonna be super fun. But anyway, obviously, thank you, Marco, for having me. It's a blast as always. And we are Entertainment Rants at entertainmentrants.com. Find us online and email us at engage@entertainmentrants.com. And hopefully we'll see everybody soon. And I'll get the outro going and keep ranting, everybody. Bye.